Hello, my name is Alexander Gall, the director of the documentary film series Cultural Aspects of Los Angeles. And today we are in the city of Burbank, located in Los Angeles County, just north of the world famous Hollywod, which is just over the hill behind me. We will be investigating for this segment of our documentary a law recently passed by the Burbank City Council, which not only bans bicycles from being ridden over the public Mariposa bridge here before me, but also from even being walked or carried across the Los Angeles River, which starts in the Santa Susana Mountains and flows through Los Angeles County in the western end of the San Fernando Valley, nearly 77 kilometers south to its mouth in Long Beach. We became interested in this story because we felt our European audiences, who are accustomed to the bicycle, being king of their environment and being able to take them everywhere, will be fascinated to learn how the small city of Burbank in California came to restrict bike movement over a bridge vital to some of the nicest natural and open recreational areas in Los Angeles.
Nobody's given us a beer yet.
Yeah, last week it was International Naked Bike Ride.
Wow.
Honestly, hundreds of bikers naked, women and men, younger, yeah. And they all biked, and my manager started yelling, "We have beer!" They all came in, and we sold like $400 of beer in 20 minutes.
And they're all naked?
They were. Some of them had like pasty, some of them had just underwear, but they were naked. Okay.
Yeah.
Hello. Hi. We have free water if you guys are thirsty.
This is the end of the bike path for all intents and purposes. This is as far as the bike riders can go on the LA River bike path. They go to the other side, it's fenced off. However, you can walk your bike right under this overpass, see? Very simple. This is how I do it. When I go across that bridge over here, come down the river, I just walk right under here. Now, the big argument that was made by the people who wanted to restrict bicycles from the bridge up here is that, well, there's no place for bicycles to go. They kept calling it the bridge to nowhere. And I get up and I say, no, it's not a bridge to nowhere. It is a bridge to an asphalt road that takes you straight to the LA River bike path, which is over here. That's where the actual bike path begins. As you can see, this is all fenced off. You can't even walk down here. This asphalt road is not a bridle path, as they like to keep saying. This is under the auspices of the Los Angeles County Flood Control District, and it's what's called an access road. And their maintenance vehicles use this to go up and down. And I talked to the head of LA County Flood Control and asked him, I said, are bicycles permitted on this stretch? And he said, yes, of course. He says, it's just the same as a city street. The rules of the road apply. Horses can use it, bicycles use it. You just have to act safely and responsibly. But there's never been a ban. But every time they see me here, they try to say, oh, you're not supposed to be here. You're breaking the law. I'm not breaking the law. I never have been. So, you know, and you can see that this is a much nicer stretch of road to ride down to get to the bike path than going down Riverside Drive and crossing it over here where the freeways, you know, come on and off. If you turn around, you can see freeway entrance sign. The traffic is really heavy and fat. People come flying off those freeways. And to take my young child here to ride down the path, it's just not safe and convenient, which is why I would much prefer to use the mariposa. So again, when I get to here, I just walk my bike right under here. As you can see, It is not a bridge to nowhere. It's a bridge to somewhere. It's a bridge to everywhere.
know this is illegal, right?
I've been trying to get a ticket.
It's illegal.
I've been trying to get a
Yes.
Oh yeah, he's trying to get a ticket since years for that.
Yeah, because this is illegal for the horses that come across here and horses down in here. It's very dangerous stuff with the bicycles with the horses.
We know.
If a horse spooks, sees a bike, goes back, someone falls down, they get hurt, could get killed.
Of course.
Except it's never happened in
very
77
dangerous.
years.
Makes sense, absolutely.
It's never happened in 77 years.
Yes, they just had a big, huge, big accident right here on the bridge. One horse spooked, 5 of them started to go all over the place.
I didn't see
two
anything
people were
like
hurt.
that.
Yeah.
This was caused by a bicycle?
Look it up. I think so, yeah. It wasn't just the horses, because the horses, they do it all themselves.
Well, that's because they're only supposed to be 6. See, that sign says 6 limit, and I've seen 24 horses at a time.
Sometimes they put a lot on.
So
That's a weight thing.
They violate their own sign.
This is a safety thing. The bike hurt another person.
Not in 77 years.
It's a horse community.
I know it is. I know.
It's a horse community. It's like if I went up to the bike trails where you guys have the bikes, and I took my horse and galloped down the trail.
Do you have that map?
You know?
Yes, I do. Excuse me, one moment.
Let me show you something here that you find interesting.
You live here, Burbank, sir?
Yes, I live right here at the end of the cul-de-sac. We've got 2 horses that we keep in our backyard.
Here, this is for you. Now, if you'll notice on this map here, this is where I'm standing right here where the red dot is. That's
right
inside the city limits of Burbank. This is all Burbank, all the way up to the tunnel.
Right.
And then when you go here,
it's
down
Los
this way,
Angeles.
that's Los Angeles County Flood Control. And I've already talked to them, and they said there's no ban on bikes all the way down here to the LA River Bike.
The ranger told me.
Well, the ranger was wrong.
Both rangers, and they've talked to you too.
Yeah,
right?
they have no jurisdiction here
Both
at all.
rangers.
See, this is where
Yeah.
their jurisdiction starts, on the other side of the tunnel.
It starts all the way down here. She said this is all city, and
That's county flood
Why
control.
do the rangers ride down here if it's not their
Well, there's no
jurisdiction?
law against them doing that. They have his
but
right.
they're the-
Look, this is LA County. Look. This is from Kenneth Johnson from Burbank Public Works. Attached is the Burbank boundary. Bridge is completely in
Bring them
Burbank.
down here so they can
LA
see the
River,
actual
yeah,
facts.
LA River Service Road on the south is completely within LA County flood control easement and not controlled by Griffith Park regulations. That's by the Burbank City Public Works Department.
These are LA County officers that are on the board.
But they have no jurisdiction there.
That's LA County, they've got jurisdiction.
No,
Yes.
not the Rangers. They don't have any. They have no jurisdiction. And I got this straight from the mouth of the flood control director. He said there's.
I don't
he
know
said
why
this-
you keep persisting on going over this bridge.
Because I have a right to.
Dangerous.
There's
so many other bridges you can. There's only one bridge that horses can go over. This is it. Only one. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
The
7,
access
8,
down
9,
there
10
is really
places
bad.
you
If I
could go
want to
in.
take my child down there,
He's
there's
just
no
being
parking.
stubborn. He just wants to make
And
this
so are
point
you.
over our bridge. And
Your bridge. It's
there's
not your
10 other
bridge.
entrances
It is
to
the
this
public's
place.
bridge.
So
It is
I
the
got to take
public's
off.
bridge.
Anyway, good luck.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Thank you for your time.
So, if you see the map there,
Yeah.
this sign is illegal. And you know who put this sign up? Was the husband of Councilwoman Gabaletti.
Gabrielletti.
Yeah, and see, for years they put signs like this one here with the slash red They
Yeah.
put signs up there illegally.
About breaking the laws here in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. This sign was just put up there prohibiting bicycles just recently.
I see.
The bridge is 77 years old, and all these years there's never been a problem with bicyclists sharing the bridge with horses. As you can see, the horses go this way,
This
the
way?
bicycles go this way towards the Los Angeles River bicycle path that goes on for another 8 miles. And this is a very convenient place for bicyclists to come because there's parking, you can bring your children,
Sure.
but they're down there further, it's difficult to get access. So bicyclists have enjoyed sharing the road, but now they're prohibited because the people who own the horse stable there look at this public bridge as a economic issue. They make money renting horses, taking them across the public bridge to the public Griffith Park, which is through this tunnel over here.
I see.
And they don't like to have to share the bridge. They want to think of it's theirs.
My understanding, however, is that there's an ordinance that specifically prohibits bicyclists from either riding across the bridge or even walking their bike
Yes,
across
yes.
the bridge. Would you tell us anything about that?
Originally in December, the city council had it come up for a vote, and they decided to treat the bridge the same way they do public sidewalks downtown, whereas you cannot ride your bike on the bridge, but you could walk or carry it across.
I see.
And the horses would have the right of way, and you're not to disturb horses, and everybody's supposed to share and get along. And they thought this was a fair compromise. But the people who own the horse stables got hundreds of horseback riders in the community up in arms and angry, and they showed up to the next meeting, and they threatened them with all kinds of political reprisals and vote you out of office. And so the 5-0 unanimous vote to make a compromise less than 6 weeks later became a unanimous 5-0 decision to rescind the compromise and put in the law that prohibits bicycles from being carried or walked across the bridge in a safe and responsible manner.
You know what? I think European audience will be fascinated.
There's lots of kids that come on here. It's very dangerous, horses and bikes, and there's a lot of people.
Would you like
Can
to
we
come
ask you
down
a
and
couple
talk to us
questions?
for a second?
Okay.
What's your name, please?
Lori,
Lori. Okay, I'm Les.
Les, very nice to meet you.
Alan.
What's your name?
And this is Lemonade.
Hi, Lemonade. You're so
Hey.
cute. You're so cute.
Go ahead. Ask.
Oh, I'm just wondering if you're talking something about the bikes, because, you know, I've been here my whole life. I've been riding since the 60s here on the trails. Horses, just like anything, a lot of people don't understand. Horses spook. A lot of young children ride on this bridge.
Yeah.
And if you have a horse coming on the bridge, well, kids, do you want to, is it worth one person that doesn't get their way?
Absolutely not. Let me ask you a question. Has there ever been an incident that you know of where a bicyclist going across this bridge just spooked a horse?
In fact, I had actually a motorcycle, a dirt bike, a gas bike.
Bicycle, we're talking about a bike.
Oh, sorry. Okay,
A
I've had
motorcycle
many
makes a lot of noise,
Yeah,
and you know that
no,
horses
everything.
are frightened of
Oh,
noise.
horses will frighten at baby carriages, you know, even so.
I heard that at the city council meeting in February, but I'll tell you, excuse me, that's Lori.
Yes,
Lori,
uh-huh.
hey, let me talk
Sorry,
for a second.
I'm so sorry.
I was at that meeting
Yes.
myself, and I heard a lot of people talk, and when they were talking about problems, it was mostly with hikers and bicycles, where there were horse trails up here. There was nothing, not one instance that anybody was able to point to where a person walking his bike across a bridge had ever frightened a horse.
Yeah, it has happened, and I've seen it happen before. But it doesn't
A
happen.
bicycle?
Yes, it doesn't happen that often because most people obey the law that there's no bikes here. So, you know, there's less people that
When
come.
do you think that law went into effect?
I don't know, but most people.
The law is only about 2 months old.
Oh.
There were these signs
No
that
one,
were put up
yeah,
here
no one
prior to
comes
that.
on the bridge. No one comes on the bridge.
Close
There's
up.
very few people that do come on
Close
the
up,
bridge.
yeah.
I come on the bridge.
Bike-wise,
Yeah.
very few people. I'm out here every single day. I'm here from like I do, you know, lessons all day long. There's never basically bikes on the bridge, you know, and And it's a, you know, it's a factor. It could be, you know, maybe
It could,
100
but
horses go by and
you-
aren't frightened, but is it worth a child that's renting a horse to be spooked?
Okay,
So it's just not worth
anything
it.
could happen. But what I ask you,
Right.
Lori, is would you swear before God with your hand on a Bible that you have personal
I
knowledge
actually
of an
have.
instance?
Yes, I have seen it. It's just, you know what? Like I
we
said,
have the police
it's not
coming.
worth having kids.
Did you attend that?
I did. I did. I was there.
I was there.
I was the one actually that.
Yes, there is a sign that you keep spraying out. No bicycles.
I'm waiting for the police. They're gonna
Charlie.
come give me
That's
a
fine
ticket.
with me.
Come on.
Want to call for backup? We'll call for a ranger.
The Burbank police is coming right now.
It's okay.
For,
I have my orders.
okay.
When we have a bicyclist on the trail, we call the
Hello. What's your name? Excuse me, lady. Can we ask you a few questions? We are very interested about the sign bicycling is prohibited. What is your opinion about it?
Bicycles are prohibited on all park trails, especially the dirt paths are reserved for equestrians and hikers only because of the adverse interaction that we receive when bicycles and horses meet up. And Burbank has passed an ordinance where there are no bicycles on this bridge. The bridge belongs to Burbank,
Yeah,
and this trail here is part of Los Angeles City Park.
I see.
So he's illegally here, and he's subject to a ticket and a fine, both on park property and Burbank's bridge.
But can you tell me what happened? Why is the sign there? What happened that the sign made?
It's a safety issue. It's a safety issue that both the city of Burbank and the city of Los Angeles recognize.
City of
Then
Los
he's
Angeles.
violating Burbank law.
Well,
But you have no jurisdiction. over
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
You're in Los Angeles. You just said
You're
so.
in Los Angeles park property.
Yeah, and there's no law against pushing a bike.
Would you ride a girl like this to get her on the trails? Tell me. Would you ride her horse to spook? What if she's on a horse that's spooked?
I have a little girl too. I wouldn't
Then
want
you
her.
should be smarter than that.
I've done this hundreds of times.
Smarter than that, because you should be smarter than that. I wouldn't want a little girl like this falling off a horse. I'm sorry. She's a special young lady, you know, and we would want her to fall off. It's just, I'm
your point is well taken, Lori.
Okay, I don't want a special girl like this to fall off a horse. Am I kidding?
We understand.
Thank you so much.
I want to understand the law.
I don't understand an unjust law or where there was
not
no law at
unjust.
all in the first
It's
place.
the law.
There's no law.
Yes, there is. Read the sign.
That-
Right up there.
That law is meaningless. That sign is meaningless.
It's only meaningless because you want it to be meaningless.
And it was put here by the husband of the city council.
No, it was not. This was put up by the city of Los Angeles. It's been here for years, and people keep spraying it
They
out.
have
or
a
taking
law
it
against
down.
riding a bike on
This
the
is
horse
part-
trails, but not pushing it. I'll go to court on that. Fine, you give me your.
But you've already violated the law by crossing over with your bike.
Because I want to go to
And you
court.
don't push the bike,
I'm
sir.
the
We
Rosa
see you
Parks.
riding all the
I
time.
consider myself the Rosa Parks of Burbank bike riders.
Because
we'll
you're
go to
gonna
the other side.
You'll be getting a ticket.
Okay, we have to
as
shut
soon
it
as
down.
Show up.
Why did Martin Luther King keep integrating bus lunch
You know,
counters?
I'm sorry. Apples and kiwi fruits. It has no connection.
Maybe
No
not.
connection.
I think there is a connection.
It's a liability and a safety issue.
That's-
Los Angeles City.
Flood
It doesn't
control
matter.
district road,
Los
no.
Angeles has jurisdiction. You know,
They
I'm
don't-
so tired of arguing.
Okay, I am too. Well, I'm going to argue in front of a judge, and I'll let him decide.
Good.
That'll be my Supreme Court.
That made a mistake.
I'll go to court, and if the judge says I can't use the bridge, then I won't use the bridge. Burbank?
City of Burbank, you gotta take, can you turn that off, please?
It's yours.
Oh yeah, honey. But we've had a lot of accidents caused by bicycles interacting with horses because the bicyclists, they get like this and they're just pedaling away and they don't see the horse. I've been rammed. I've had my horses rammed by a bicycle
Now,
from
wouldn't
behind.
you like to have that film, which you're saying right now?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you plan to be on camera instead of scaring the photographer?
Well-
You-
I consider myself to be you could call me a one-man public access activist. And what that means is that I think in Los Angeles, there's just so few areas of open space and places people can go enjoy. It's such a congested big city. And the few places that people can go to, like here, the people with the money and the power want to control it. To be one against the power. Sometimes one person can make a difference. One person telling the truth and representing a righteous cause can ultimately prevail.
I think European audiences will be fascinated.
Yeah.
About your story, what you're doing, they will be fascinated. They will clap, they will love you, they will probably visit you here and come with gifts. And,
I think there are people in Europe who are more feel a kinship more to my way of doing things. They're much more activists. They feel you have to struggle against the power. And, to quote the great Martin Luther, centuries ago, "Here I stand, I can do no more." Interestingly, I think there's not a lot of attention that's been paid to this by the media and by filmmakers. Sometimes there have been movies made in Los Angeles where they'll use parts of the river that's like down here, where they race cars up and down and have car chases. Yeah, there's movies
like Italian Job.
Yeah,
with the Mini Coopers. Fast and Furious.
Yeah, that kind of movie. They have races down the concrete stretches of the river. There's stretches where it's just all concrete and there's just a little kind of a slot that goes down the middle where the water runs. That trash polluting our river. want you to film me slipping on my backside here. Very slippery. I got it. We're good. I got it. Hot day.
Hot day.
I think it's just the best kept secret in Los Angeles. Not many people know about it, and the access, as I was saying back here, is not very easy to get there. And then further down, there's a couple of more access points, but they're also kind of, you know, out of the way, hard to get to, not great parking nearby. So, you know, you get just a few loyal, hardy souls that regularly use the bike path, but it should just be choked with bicycles. It should look like you know, like the great cities of Europe are just the streets are just full of bicycles. You know, go to Copenhagen, you know, and you can barely walk down a street, you know, because there's bicycles parked, you know, from curb to curb, you know, on during the entire length of the block, and then the people, of course, riding. It's just they're everywhere, and no one would dare try to restrict them. You know, I mean, it's the bicycle in every city that I visited in Europe was king. You know, it's almost a sacred you know, icon, and people love their bikes and they use them wherever they can. And there are cities in the United States now that are becoming very bike friendly, and they're copying the example of European cities. Thinking of Portland, Oregon, where it's just a city full of bicycles, and they tie it in with the public transportation system, which is very good. And Los Angeles is making attempts. You know, you can take your bike on the bus. You can take it on the underground subway, and they're beginning to build bike paths. But there's resistance. For some reason, people in Los Angeles don't want to get out of their cars. They think, oh, this is, you know, look at them. They're slowing me down. They're getting in my way. And that kind of thinking needs to change over time. And, you know, the health that people have from riding a bike is you know, it's a, you know, you don't wear out your knees, you don't have shin splints, you know, it's like swimming, you know, it's a very, oh, look at these birds here, it's a very relaxed form of exercise, more of an aerobic, and it's good for your whole body, and has a minimum of stress on your joints. And people who have, you know, knee injuries especially, you know, I had a knee injury 10 years ago and I had to have surgery, and I used to be a jogger, and I gave it up for bike riding, and it's helped me just tremendously, and probably saved me from, you know, down the road getting a knee transplant. Certainly it's good for your heart, it's good for your weight. I read Steve Jobs said that the human body is the least efficient mechanical system of all life on Earth. But if you give someone a bicycle, they suddenly become the most efficient. And I think he's right. The studio is up here at Universal, and they're up here in the hills, and there wasn't any, you know, environmental impact study laws in those days. So when they were through and they didn't need the birds anymore, they just opened the cages and let them all go. And there's a park not far from here on Olive Avenue that there's a lot of those big birds, and the legend has it that they all kind of roosted at that park and just stayed there. And when you look at them, they're larger than most of the local crows, and they're very aggressive, and they like to chase off other birds and squawk at them if they get in their territory. And when I saw them and I heard the story, I said, well, Alfred Hitchcock would be proud of them. He'd be proud of his children. Well, okay, as you can see now, we've come to the end of this island here. And there are islands further down, but really a great deal of the river looks like this. It's just concrete, nothing growing, nothing happening. And the idea is when they tear up the concrete bed of the river all along in places like that, that you'll have life and trees and foliage like here, and the whole river will be like this. That's the goal. And the wildlife population will increase, and the air quality, I think, increases because you have more. You know, all of this helps clean the air. This is all the growing things of the world are what cleans our ecosystem. It cleans the air. You know, I just as a disclaimer, there's a local bicycle group here in town called Walk Bike Burbank.
They're in Burbank.
And there's
Walk
some
Bike
wonderful
Burbank.
people involved in that,
Yeah.
doing some very
Yeah.
positive things and trying to create new awareness of bicycles. And I have no connection with them at all, no association with them at all. I don't represent them. They don't represent me. We're completely apart. And I think that that's probably a good thing, because I've become kind of this person who has now the image of being, you know, a troublemaker and a rebel, and you know, and someone who makes people angry, you know. And so it's better that there's a whole other group of people out there who do it from the opposite direction. You know, everything's positive and friendly, and how can we cooperate? But I think there's only a limit of what you can accomplish by being cooperative. You know, I think at some point you run up against the resistance that will not yield without pressure, without going up against that, you know, and struggling with it. And that's just politics 101. We can create much more of this. We'll have a healthier Los Angeles. We'll breathe easier. And when they create more parks and trails, it'll just be a very pleasant place for people to go who, again, we just don't have a lot of open recreation space in Los Angeles. It's a big concrete and steel city that the original builders didn't envision, you know, grand parks and large recreation areas like other cities. Look at this little guy here, this little baby guy. Wow, I've never even seen these kinds of birds, many of them, like egrets, those big white birds that look a little like small cranes. And the blue heron. Wow. You don't expect to see that right in the middle of the city, and you don't see it anywhere except along here. This is perfect.
Bicyclists such as Herr Weiskopf, whom we just interviewed, have learned that the local police and park rangers will not issue him a citation for having unlawfully crossed the bridge while walking his bike, which means he will be unable to go to court and attempt to have the law nullified by a judge. The horseback riders will get to keep their bicycles prohibited sign up on the bridge. but not be able to prevent Mr. Weisskopf or any other bicyclists from violating the ordinance intended to ban them. So it appears we have a stalemate between these bitterly divided neighbors that will continue until sometime several years from now, if the city of Burbank builds a new bridge, as they have promised to, intended for bicyclists, who will then no longer use the Mariposa bridge here.